Ladies and gentlemen, a big welcome to Spike Carlyle in action at Rizin 35. Very much looking forward to this one. This has been kind of on your bucket list, right? You're up against Koji Takeda, but Rizin has been on your kind of professional to-do list for a while. Is that fair to say?
Yes, absolutely, 110%. I've been dreaming about competing in Japan for since I was 15, so over 13 years.
It's a stacked card. It's looking really nice. And how good is it to have foreign fighters back in the mixer? Has this been something that's been building for a while for you? Like, how long have you had to wait for this opportunity?
Yeah, so obviously, ever since the pandemics happened, I've been having to, I got released from the UFC in early 2020, and I've been trying to come. Actually, even before I was in the UFC, I was trying to come into Japan, but it never panned out. And yeah, so I've been patiently waiting for this moment for over 2 years now. So,
and some people have left the UFC and absolutely thrived. How do you deal with leaving the UFC? Because some people treat it as the be all and end all. Like, how do you see that chapter in your career, and how do you see this new chapter?
Yeah, so for me personally, it was the UFC. It was an honor to fight for them. I had a great experience for the most part. But it was never my true heart desire. It's cool to fight for them. They are, obviously one of the most prominent organizations, and have given me a great platform or foundation to go compete elsewhere. But it was never like you said, a lot of people think it's the end all be all. So it's never in my head like, oh, I got to be in the UFC. That's what I want to be. It's always been to compete in Japan, and I fell in love with Pride. So I just love this style. I love the rule set. I love everything about it. I think Japanese MMA is honestly the best type of MMA there is.
You've racked up a 4-fight winning streak and you're 28 years old. Do you feel like you're in the prime of your career right now?
Yeah, I would say I am just entering my prime. I train with a lot of studs out there, and I'm starting to notice as the science gets better, as people are learning how to take care of themselves, their bodies. A lot of these fighters aren't really peaking until their early 30s. Your body's still physically prime, but more so than that, you have the experience, and your mentality is where it needs to be. So I think I'm just entering my prime. I now have 16 professional fights, and it's starting to be a very comfortable place instead of your first few fights, your adrenaline dump. So I'm learning how to control everything, and yeah, I feel like I'm stepping into the veteran part of my career.
Are you still training with Mark Munoz?
Yes. I train with Mark Munoz at the training lab, and Benil Dariush at Kings MMA Anaheim.
Awesome. What a legend of Asian MMA is Mark Munoz. How big of an influence has he been for you?
Oh man, he's one of my favorite people in the world. I'm not sure if you ever talked to him, but it's very rare. You'll never hear anyone say anything negative about the guy, and I think that just speaks to his character. He's just a bundle of love, of goodness, of just an awesome human being. Great, amazing fighter, but even better person. So that's why I love him.
What do you think of Koji Takeda? He's an absolute stalwart of the Japanese scene. He's fought a bunch in Rizin. He's fought in Deep. Do you like this as a first test in Rizin for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he has I've fought similar styles to Koji before. And I think with my skill set, it's going to be very favorable to me. I have a few ways of how the fight's going to play out, and I'm just excited to get in there. And like I said, with this new rule set in a ring, it's going to be it's going to be really beneficial to the way I approach things.
I thought it was interesting over the weekend how we saw Gilbert Burns very nearly soccer kick Khamzat Chimaev.
Oh yeah.
How excited are you to be able to kind of unleash the soccer kicks? Is that something you've been working on at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely. 110%. I can't wait to soccer kick, face stomp, and knee on the ground, especially. It changes a lot of the grappling dynamics, especially with the unified rule set. I think it favors the grapplers more. Whereas here is if you take a shot and you end up, in a front headlock position, that's one of the worst positions to ever be. So I don't think you'll see as many people shooting for the legs as you would in the unified rule set.
What's the deal with yourself and Rizin? Is this one fight and see? Is it, are we going to see you fighting regularly for them? What's the plan?
Yeah, so we have a multi-fight contract. So this is not just a one-off. And I also have a contract with Bellator. So I'm going to be fighting between both organizations. The goal is to become Rizin World Champion and fight the Bellator World Champion, or become Bellator World Champion, fight the Rizin World Champion, whichever one comes first. But both of the organizations have been extremely awesome to me. So I'm grateful that I have the ability to compete between both.
It seems like an interesting night for the lightweights with the main event, DSouza against Johnny Case.
Yes.
Is it in the back of your mind that if COVID or whatever happens, you could be getting a surprise title shot here?
Man, who knows? Who knows what can happen? Who knows what the future holds? I never met Roberto Souza Satoshi, but I've been following him. I've been eyeing him. I know he's the champ, and I haven't been following Johnny Case as much. But I've actually just got done hanging out with Johnny Case. We've actually hit it off really well. He's a super cool individual. So hopefully I don't ever have to fight him, but he's a cool dude, and I'm excited for his fight.
Who do you think is the most exciting lightweight in the world right now? Are you kind of a student of the sport in that regard? Is there people that you just love to watch?
Yeah, exciting. Oh man, exciting isn't always the best. Isn't always the guy that wins the most, right? So let me think for that. As a lightweight, the most exciting. I haven't really pondered that too much, but there are some fighters out there that I do love to watch. I would say, just off the top of my head, Michael Chandler. I don't think his strategy against Justin Gaethje was the most smart for him, but I think he wanted to bring it for the fans. So I appreciated when him and Justin fought. So that's an exciting style. So that's something that's fun to watch, I guess.
What does this sport mean to you? For some it's prize fighting, for some it's martial arts, for some it's legacy. Why do you do this? What do you love about this sport?
Man, it's hard to say. I feel like something I was created for, something I was had a desire since I was in my mom's tummy. She called me Spike. Since I was in her tummy, I was always kicking around. So I came out of the womb fighting, so to speak. So it's just an innate desire that's just been put in my heart that I think I was created with, truly. I've always loved competitive sports, especially physical ones. I'd foul out of basketball games and whatnot. So combat sports has just always been, something I'm very passionate about. And I love it. I love it.
So you're the American fighting a Japanese fighter in Japan.
Yeah.
Are you conscious of kind of winning the fans over? Because, we see it done. And is that important to you to kind of get their respect?
Yes, absolutely. Of course. I think with my entertaining fighting style, I have 13 wins and 12 of them are finishes, 6 subs, 6 KOs. So I definitely think I go for the kill. I try to finish fights. I do finish fights. I don't try, I do. And I think they'll appreciate that, especially with how they judge things over here. So I think if I show up the way I plan to, it's going to be spectacular.
One thing that's awesome about Rizin is kind of the pageantry of it. I mean, we remember the Pride walkouts. It's kind of similar in Rizin. Yep. Is that something that you're going to have fun with? Like, what are you going to be walking out to?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Obviously I couldn't do that when I was in the UFC. They had like strict code of conduct with it was Reebok, now it's Venom. But yeah, definitely. If you look at my amateur career and all my pro career, I've always walked out as a different character. So I have something fun that will resonate well with the Japanese audience here. And I can't wait for the big, like you said, Pride entrances, Rizin entrances. So it's going to be really fun for everyone.
Awesome. And in terms of the lightweights, who have you got your eye on in Rizin and Bellator?
Yeah, so obviously I'm looking at this title fight coming up for Rizin. I would definitely love to compete for a world title here. So like I said, I'm really starting to like Johnny Case. So I mean, hopefully I don't ever have to fight him, but you never know. There's a very high chance he's going to win. I know this is a rematch. But if I do fight in Bellator again, I've actually already requested, and I'm focused on this fight. I'd love to fight. I believe his name's Usman Nurmagomedov, Khabib's cousin. He's a young gun. I think he's 24, something like that. He's 13-0, and I think he's ranked 4th or 5th in Bellator. So I've requested if I do compete over there, I want to fight him. I want to take him out. So that'd be fun.
Well, it's great to have you out in Asia, man. Really looking forward to your Rizin debut. It's been a pleasure. Nice one, Spike. Cheers.